Well, to get us the latest on the ground, Trent Murray, DD India correspondent, joining us from Tel Aviv this afternoon. Good afternoon, Trent. What's the latest, especially when it comes to the ground offensive by Israel and also unconfirmed reports, reported in the media about rocket attack targets, targeting northern Israel?
Yeah, good afternoon. Namaste to you. Another dramatic day here on the ground. We know that there has been a very large rocket volley actually from northern Lebanon by Hezbollah, according to the IDF. The IDF says it's responding by hitting Hezbollah targets. It's a reminder of the fact that while the situation on the ground in Gaza is getting understandably a lot of the focus, that tensions on the northern border are also simmering. It comes amongst another heavy night of fighting within the Gaza Strip. We know the IDF is continuing to push forward both from the air and on the ground. In fact, in the past hour or so, we've just seen the IDF warning residents of several neighbourhoods in central Gaza to begin evacuating south and to seek shelter. That normally would indicate that they are about to step up operations within that particular area, and they're trying to clear civilians out of the way. So look, another heavy day of fighting, and as you say, we don't seem to be any closer to the two sides negotiating a ceasefire right now. They both are digging in quite strongly with their rhetoric.
Okay, Trent, looking at what the Hamas says now, no more hostage release until the end of this particular armed conflict. Do you see this stand, first of all, as worrisome? And does that put pressure, especially on Israel, now to change track?
Well, I don't think it will pressure Israel to change tack here, because the Israeli government has made clear that it's got three goals in this campaign. The first is to get their hostages back. The second is to eliminate Hamas, and the third is to make sure Gaza doesn't turn into a haven of terrorism again. What we know is that the two sides are talking to intermediaries in Egypt, but also Qatar. Israel is keen to get its 129 hostages back. There certainly is pressure on the government here from the families of those hostages, but I think any question around Israel completely stopping its operation in Gaza, well, the Israeli government tells you it's out of the question, it's a non-starter. Benjamin Netanyahu says anyone that thinks that idea is, quote, detached from reality.
Okay. Trent, how do you see this cascading effect of the present situation, especially when it comes to, turning into a full-blown catastrophe in Gaza if the humanitarian aid or further humanitarian aid does not see the light of the day?
Well, the UN is providing some quite startling statistics around the situation within the Gaza Strip. We know it's home to roughly 2 million people. They say 90% of those are now displaced or homeless because of the fighting. They also say 500,000 are suffering catastrophic hunger conditions, and that the entire strip is at risk of famine if aid doesn't get in more urgently. Hospitals are struggling to operate. The UN says no hospitals are operating now in the northern part of Gaza. And so when you add all that together, you can see why pressure is building in New York on the UN Security Council to discuss this resolution for a ceasefire to try and surge humanitarian aid in. It's been delayed now for a fourth straight day. That is because we understand the Americans are still taking some convincing to try and sign off on the text, but we'll have to monitor that situation at the UN in New York this coming Friday.
Okay, one quick thought from you. How does the world at this point of time see this continued attack, especially on the international highway, that's the Red Sea? Is there cause of concern, and are alarm bells ringing, to countries and trade that is getting affected on a large scale?
Oh, look, undoubtedly there are alarm bells ringing, which is why you're seeing the US lead this multi-nation effort. Greece joining in the past 24 hours. It takes the total number to 11 countries that are trying to safeguard those vital shipping lanes. 12% of the world's trade traverses through there every year, and so they don't want disruption from those Houthi rebels based in Yemen. That waterway is the main connection between Europe, India and Asia. Any disruption there could have major ripple-on effects, which is why you're seeing the navies of the world move assets into that region to try and push back against these Houthi attacks and allow civilian shipping to make it through there.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us. DD India correspondent Trent